Okay, sometimes someone can just hit you up with a question that where did you meet God? Okay, personally for me, I think God's resilience is actually shown out in different ways. Because at some point, you find that people will find God's grace and actually will just get God in nature. People can also get God in meditation. People can also get God in different acts of kindness, like, okay, just being good and actually people get God in so many different ways, even in nature and other ways that actually cannot be revealed. Okay, personally, if you ask me where I've met God, I'll tell you that I've met God in different ways and actually in different places, because I've met God in four corners of my room. I've met God in just under his nature, under the stars, and just walking and getting meditations on different things and actually different ways that he's been through my path is just a way of just resilience of his grace towards my life. There's this day that, just seated somewhere and just with a group of people, and something just happens to me. Automatically I'm like, oh my God, why did it happen to me? Okay, at that juncture, it actually didn't know that, I was affected, so I actually didn't know that it was God revealing himself. But actually just way later, just getting to sit back, just getting to reflect on what happened, I was like, oh dear, it was God. Because if it was not for him, maybe something worse could have happened, you see. So even if you go through actually the verses, you'll find that, God really wanted to reveal himself and get the Israelites know him, right? So God actually used the plagues, actually the 10 plagues, and he was so harsh on the Egyptians in a way that he could actually want King Herod to release the Israelites so that at least they could have an easy life out of Egypt. So them having an easy life out of Egypt was a way of God's resilience towards them, because if it was not for God, actually they could continue being in slavery for the longest time ever. And if you know that God can work wonders is when Moses had already taken the Israelites out of Egypt and he was leading them, and on his way anapatana na Red Sea, like, where will they pass? So actually the Israelites now started actually keeping words into Moses and actually telling him that, like, you could just leave us be in Egypt, because if you could leave us be in Egypt, we could not be going through this at this moment, you see. So actually what they didn't know is that God wanted to reveal himself in such a scenario that they was in a difficult moment, So this is also a point to go through, that God can also reveal himself to you when you are at your difficult moment, like at your lowest. God can just show his presence and his mercy towards you. You see it? So like they were to pass there and they had no way, you see. So it's also a difficult time for Moses. So Moses has to go down, just pray and tell God that, God, I'm just tired. Sometimes also prayer just gets us to know that God is really working, because at this juncture Moses didn't know what to do. Remember, he had a lot of people behind him and they had to cross, because actually they were also followed back, remember. And if Moses had delayed actually for quite a while, actually they could be gotten by these Herod's people who are following him back. So Moses just goes to God and he's like, God, I want these people to pass. I don't know what I'll do, and there's no way through here. But God is really listening, and also God has always ears open towards us. So God just tells him, like, just raise your sword, dunga hapo kwa maji, and a way will be found. It's also, sometimes you also tend to doubt God, because you are like, how can you just put a sword like this and a way is found, But actually when because Moses trusted in God, and actually it's a way calling for us to trust in God, sometimes we find it easy, but God has a way of making it more simpler, you know, as much as hard it will be. So Moses just puts his sword and a way is found. You see, like when we say God can work in different ways and God works wonders, it's really true that God works wonders for our lives. So they cross, and even the people are amazed, because even if it was me, like I could be so amazed, because how, like God has made a way where actually there was no way, you see. So the Israelites pass, and when it's time for the Egyptians pass, like the river now is blocked again and they have to drown. You see, like when just God wants you to work out a mission, he'll make sure that you fulfill your mission, because after the Israelites passed, he now crossed the sea, because he knew that the Egyptians will actually hurt the Israelites. You see, God can never let you be hurt by anything. You know, God can never ever let you be hurt by anything. You see, because even in the book of Job, you find that, okay, Job went through a lot of temptations, but eventually, like, he was saved by God, because God can never let you be down, you know, he'll always be there for you. Okay, a calling to just know where we met God and actually recognize his presence.